The following segment is sponsored by Daniel A. White and Associates and does not necessarily reflect the views of this station or Forever Media Incorporated.
And Anna,
Rick Jensen on 1150 AM, 1017 FM, WDEL.
I've been a client of Dan White's for many, many years, and I've seen him help a lot of people as a financial advisor, consultant, financial planner who specializes in retirement income. Dan, thanks for being on, man. How are you, sir?
Good, Rick. How about yourself?
Funny you would ask, because, as you know, I have guaranteed investment income with you, and I've also been in real estate and heavy in the stock market. So right now I'm kind of concerned about that latter thing, and we'll get into some detail here. I have a number of different stocks, and I'm down to instead of having 80% of all my investments in the stock market and rollover IRAs and such like that, I'm at 20% now. And I feel like I was lucky because when everything started falling in November, like 650 points one day, and continued, I'm thinking, all right, I staved off the worst of it. Now we're seeing the Fed is likely going to be raising rates. They're saying anywhere from 5 to 6 times maybe. And I'm thinking this is going to be extraordinarily volatile. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's one of those, fasten the seatbelts, I mean, it's, ever since COVID, we've been in kind of a lull where the market just kind of went straight up for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And now, because inflation, that's kind of the driving force, with inflation. I think last month it topped out at 7.5%. The Fed knows they have to kind of slow things down and cool off the economy a little bit. The question really is, I mean, I've heard anywhere from 3 rate hikes to 7, same as you, is how big a rate hike are they going to do? I mean, are they going to do, I kind of think the first one might be a half a point. Normally they go a quarter point. They just kind of do it nice and slow. But they might want to try and grab the bull by the horns and do a half a point and then maybe slow down after that. I don't know. The problem I see is the Fed rarely gets it right. They either go too slow or they go too fast. If they go too fast, you run the risk of throwing the economy in a recession. If they go too slow, inflation could just get out of control, and it could be where you can't put the cat back in the bag. So they've got a real balancing act that they've got to try to navigate, and they very rarely do it correctly.
I like cats. I want you to use a different analogy. Historically, I've looked at this, and they look at raising the rate rather, like about 0.25% here and there, and but have they ever raised it a full percent at any one time?
When COVID hit, I mean, I'm not talking about raising, but they dropped them. I mean, they've dropped them 1-2 points at a shot. I'd have to do some research, maybe back in the Paul Volcker days. They might have, when inflation was 12-14%, they might have raised them a half or a full point back then. I'd have to look into that.
Yeah, I'd hate to see that right now because, historically they raise the rates and your stock investments go down. Could you imagine being retired right now? And whether you have, say, a managed account through Schwab or one of these other organizations, or you just have your own investments, as I've done over the years, I freaked. I was sitting there just selling everything, Yeah,
I think people still have that Goldilocks thing where, it's volatile, but you know what? Stocks go up, stocks go down. Over the long run, they always go up. And what people fail to recognize is it's a whole different ballgame between when you're putting money into a retirement plan. It doesn't matter where you get the bad returns, whether you get them early, whether you get them late. At the end of the day, you're going to have the same amount of money. But when you're pulling money out of retirement accounts, the sequence of the returns really does matter. And if you get the bad returns early in retirement, that does not bode well for you. So
no, because you don't have the same amount of money that you had before. If you earn like 7% on $200,000, it's not the same as 7% on $50,000. So
that's
is
exactly
scary.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're selling and you're selling at the wrong time, not only is your account gone down, but now you're taking money out. That's just less principal in the account that can bounce back when the market recovers. So it really does depend on when you get the bad returns in retirement.
And I don't think anybody really knows right now if the market is down now like it was in, what was it, May of 2020 when, was it March when it bottomed out and it's like, buy. It's going to come back. Right now, we don't even have that feeling. We don't know that. But you do know that if indeed you're still working, you're still going to put in money for retirement no matter what kind of vehicle you're going to use, right?
True. And that kind of leads into what I wanted to talk about today, because the pandemic, a lot of people lost jobs. Some people resigned by choice. Others were forced to leave their jobs due to maybe child care issues. And if you're not working, you may believe that you're ineligible to make an IRA contribution. You may think that I don't have any compensation, so I can't put any money in an IRA. But there's good news. If you're married, and even though you're not working, you may be able to make a contribution to your IRA based on your spouse's taxable compensation for the year. These are called spousal IRA contributions. And to do one, you make a contribution to your IRA based on your spouse's compensation. And they might still be able to contribute to one, too. It's subject to the earned income and the taxable compensation and all the rules that govern whether or not you can deduct those contributions to the IRA. But if you're not working, but your spouse is making plenty of money, you might be able to do that spousal contribution. Now, the caveat is to make and this is timely because you have until April 18th to make a IRA contribution for 2021. Now, to make a spousal contribution for the year, you must be legally married on December 31st of that year. If you are divorced or legally separated as of that date, you are not eligible, even if you were married earlier in the year. And you also have to file a joint federal income tax return for the year. So those are the rules. But I think it's timely because, again, some people think, I can't put any money in an IRA. Well, again, if you're married, you might be able to.
And is that only if your spouse is working?
Well, you have to have the compensation. So
some kind of compensation.
If your spouse is going to put in, if your spouse is going to put in 7 and you're going to put in 7, somebody had to make 14.
Yeah, I got you. But I just wanted to make sure make that clear. Yeah, your spouse is working, and that's why you can put in a spousal IRA, which is nice considering
based on their compensation. Yeah.
I mean, that was stunning, Dan.
A lot of people out there. A lot of you have the stay-at-home moms, and you have people that may have got out of the workforce during COVID because of child care, stuff along those lines. Or
the stunning part being people just decided to quit working last year. I think it was last fall. There was this great exit from the workplace. People just said, the heck with this. I don't like working anymore. It was
they call it the Great Resignation.
Yeah, it was like millions of people, and I'm thinking, well,
I know, just left jobs. Yeah,
good for you that you can do that. But remember, you do that, you live on your savings. I certainly hope that you actually have something down the road you can do. Of course, a lot of people did leave to do their own thing. I know people who left companies. They're brilliant with digital designs and marketing and things like that. They do their own consulting agencies. They say, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm just going to be a consultant. Well, I hope that works out for you because, quite honestly, you're going to have clients you're going to want to fire at some point. There's going to be somebody you don't want to work for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're going to feel compelled to do that. Good to know. Always call Dan if you have any questions about retirement income planning. 888-690-8820, 888-690-8820. And you also host On the Money Sunday mornings on WDEL at 7. What's on this week?
Yeah, let me see what's on this week. This week we're talking, again, timely topic, tax planning for the 2022 season. What should you be thinking about now in regards to taxes for the upcoming year? I mean, 2021 is kind of in the rear view.
Yeah.
You still can do a couple things like IRA contributions, but you really ought to be thinking more about 2022 and making some moves now that might save you some money down the road.
Well, yeah, because you don't have the same situation you had in 2020 when we had the shelter at home, the lockdowns, and all that kind of stuff. They changed so many of the rules for taking money out and all that. And I wonder, because you're in touch with people in Washington, D.C. You read what all these major consultants are saying. You study this stuff all the time, and I know that. So I'm wondering, is anyone that you know of talking about how the federal government maybe they won't, but I was wondering if they might try to claw back some of the taxes that they did not receive because of the changes they had made during 2020.
I haven't heard anything along those lines. I mean, they are, obviously a lot of people were under unemployment. That's going to be taxable and that kind of thing. But I haven't seen any legislation that's come down the road as far as, the stimulus and all the payments, the transfer payments that were made. So if I see something, you'll be the first to know.
I appreciate that. Yeah, but I think what's going to happen is they're simply going to increase fees, increase taxes, and the federal government will receive more revenue too with increases in inflation. You print money, it's going to cost something, and we got to pay for that. So, well, thank you, Dan. Dan White, Dan White and Associates, financial planner specializing in retirement income, 888-690. And let's see. Oh, I bet there's something else you know. Let's see. How long until pitchers and catchers report? You usually know that.
They're supposed to report this week.
Yeah, okay.
They're supposed to report this week, but they're in a lockout.
Yeah, all right, because you usually know that.
I mean,
I know.
I know. We're waiting to see if they can end this lockout so they can start spring training. So,
all right, buddy, take care.
We shall see.
All right, go Phils.
Have a good day.